Hello and welcome to the lecture on phishing. So phishing is one of the most widely used social engineering attacks around the world, and it's widely used by hackers to infiltrate organizations and in order to trick people into divulging their confidential or sensitive information. So let's see how phishing actually works and what are some of the precautions or safety tips that you can follow. So basically, let's say one fine day you receive an email in your inbox which says that your invoice from Amazon. Let's have a look at this email. So this email says that it's from Amazon and it contains an invoice. And it says, "Dear customer, please find attached the invoice for your recent purchases from Amazon. We thank you for shopping with us and looking forward to see you again." Now, a lot of the times, when we see these emails, we don't have, per email, we spend roughly say 10 to 15 seconds and we have to make a decision and action it, right? So a lot of the times when we see this Amazon logo and, even if we haven't ordered anything, out of curiosity, we want to open this attachment. And as soon as we open it, actually there's a malware inside this attachment, which basically infiltrates your system. Now, usually these type of attacks, they don't masquerade or hide a big code of malware or a big piece of malware within files or links because it's a bit difficult to get it through under the radar. So they use these sort of droppers like tiny malware. And the first thing this malware does after, entering your system is to open a backdoor. Now, see, the way that, computers, laptops, they work is that they have these sockets or ports through which a network communication occurs. And every system has roughly 65,000 ports. Most of these ports are blocked by the operating system, except for the ones which are currently being used, for example, by your browser to access the internet or maybe other applications, right? Now, what this malware does is that it opens one of these ports silently and it contacts a remote attacker. And it also allows that remote hacker to basically send more advanced and more, bulky payloads, which can do a lot more damage. Now, what this does is that this detailed malware, this new piece of malware, which gets further installed on your system, it provides hackers a lot of access on your system. They can remotely access all your files, your confidential information. They can see the applications running. They can even, exfiltrate a lot of your data and files, and which they actually do. And the interesting thing is that a lot of the times we are not even aware of this data breach. Another important point to keep in mind is that if you're working in a corporate environment, a lot of the times your system would be part of a big network. And once the malware has infiltrated your system, it can then literally spread out to other systems and servers within your corporate network. And this is how basically attackers are able to infiltrate organization. It just takes one mistake by one employee, who clicks on a malicious link or opens a malicious attachment, and then the malware basically infects his system, and then it can spread laterally to different parts of the organization. So it's something very serious. Now let's have a closer look at this email. So research says that on average, a user spends roughly 15 seconds into skimming through an email before making a decision about it. So we don't have a lot of time, but it's always, useful to be on the lookout for some big red flags if you can identify them, right? So let's have a detailed look at this email. Now, the first thing that you should always keep in mind is that ignore whatever it says here, where it's from. You have to look at the actual email. So if it's an email, you can expand the header and see the actual sender's email, which in this case has got nothing to do with Amazon, right? Now, if it was a legitimate email, it should have been coming from @amazon.com. So that's the first red flag. Moreover, if you have a detailed, a closer look at the email, you're going to find a lot of grammatical and spelling mistake. For example, purchases, there are two full stops, and, we thank you for the shopping with us. Now, it's not a rule, every phishing email won't have grammatical or spelling mistakes, but generally they do, and it's always good to be on the lookout for them. Moreover, it's always important to keep in mind that, whatever action you take as part of an organization, it may have, consequences for your organization. So it's always nice to be careful. Now, let's have a discussion on some of the safety tips and precautions that you can take so that, you don't become a victim of phishing scams, right? The first thing is to be always, watch out for red flags in your emails. You should always verify the sender, expand the email header, see if it's the actual sender which they claim to be. Look out for mistakes in the email text, and if there are links within the email asking you to click on them, before clicking them, just hover your mouse over them and you'll be able to see what's the actual link, what would be actioned actually, where would you actually be taken. Another important thing that you can do is that you should always be wary of prizes, free gifts, and bonuses. And phishing attacks are particularly common during holiday seasons, for example, during Christmas, Easter holidays. In a previous role as a senior cybersecurity consultant, we used to run these in-house phishing campaigns, sort of like white hat phishing campaigns, with the knowledge of IT security and upper management. We used to run them near Christmas, and we used to craft these emails, informing employees that, as Christmas, they're going to receive a bonus from the company. They should click on this link to claim it. And once, whoever did that, we obviously followed up with them and coached them not to do this. But one of the most important things that you can do, and as end users, a lot of the time it's very difficult for you to vet email properly and identify whether it's an actual phishing email or it just looks to be one. Now, if you have any doubt, simply report that email to IT security, who are equipped with the necessary skills and they have the forensic tools to carry out an investigation and find out whether if it's an actual phishing email. This is also very important because you may not have clicked on that malicious link or downloaded that malicious attachment, but there may be other employees in your organization who have done so. So if you report it, it would be easier for IT security to follow that up. So in conclusion, phishing attacks are, one of the most dangerous types of social engineering attacks. They're very common. And, these are some of the safety tips that you should take in order to protect yourself and your organization. So with that, we conclude our lecture. I'll see you in the next one.